Get Into Gates, we're back again, boys. Episode 19. We are talking the third last episode of Season 1 of SG1. That's episode 20 there, but for the grace of God. We are the full Get Into Gate team. My name is Mitch. To my right, Matty Gibson.
Yo.
Brendan Gibson to my left.
Hello.
And the rookie of Stargate, Rhys Gibson.
Yes, good afternoon, morning, noon.
Whenever you may be listening to us. Yes, we are all Stargate fans here, except for Rhys, who is new to the show. That's why we're doing what we're doing. We're going back, reloving the show along with Rhys as he experiences it for the first time. We're here to talk one episode each and every week of Get Into Gate, and here we are talking about the third last episode. Who wants to kick us off? I don't want to go. Maybe I should go, Matty, actually, because I kind of got a feeling of how you reacted to this episode.
If there was any episode I was going to not be here for, it was this one.
Oh, and I know how important I know how important the attendance record of this show is to you. You and Brendan.
I got nothing else going on.
I know that the rest. This is if not the best episode of the season. So I
really
hope that you're just
smoking the crack pipe,
I really hope that you're
What
just saying
do you
this.
not like it?
You know what?
Oh God!
Should I read this?
Yeah,
and then you
see if
can
that
go.
helps.
This is. I'll tell you what the episode is about according to the 1998 DVD synopsis.
I just
and
want
then
to
Matty
say
can
to the
unload.
audience that
Yes.
Matty is not, in fact, lying just to try and
No.
get a good
No,
contrast.
I
of
never.
And for
views
anyone who's
on
ever
this
listened to
series.
Get Into Geek, which is our other podcast show, he's not doing that there either. He's just genuinely angry all the time.
I'm never a contrarian. I tell it how I feel, so
Yeah.
I'm never trying to.
Oh, just don't
I'm never
go.
trying
I mean,
to-
sometimes I wish that he would fake it half the time, just so we
Yeah.
can all come in here and get along. Kumbaya,
I feel
kumtraya. All hold hands in the circle that we sit in, but no.
Just make it
Oh,
better.
look, the more everyone says "come try," the happier I'll be. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's not do that here so you can let us know how you real
I
feel.
understand how you don't like it.
No, I don't. Let's see why. There, but for the grace of God, a mysterious mirror transports Jackson to another dimension. Suddenly, he finds himself on an alternate Earth that is under attack from the Goa'uld. Daniel foresees that the same cruel fate awaits his Earth. Can Walter return to his dimension and save the world? Which really makes no sense considering everything else. Yeah, can Walter help? But I just wanted to really replace
I
Daniel,
don't
it
even think
seems.
I don't think even Walter
wow.
could have helped this episode, could he?
Are you
Hey,
joking?
Walter,
Are
I
you
want to get to that
joking?
later. Walter pops up at the end of this episode
Hey,
like
man.
a f***ing boss.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey, like dress for the occasion.
Like, I think that's coined in later seasons as the combat cardigan, is what he's wearing at the end there.
Now, I know I started off last week with Tin Man, and I said that when this popped up, Tin Man, I was like, oh, yeah, I don't like this episode. And I grew to love it, watching it whatever time that was last week. This episode starts, I'm like, oh, yeah, I really like this episode. And then it ended, and I'm like, no, I f***ing love this episode. I really do. And I think
What's
maybe...
not to like? You know, you got ancient artifacts as trans-dimensional travel or whatever the he goes, another dimension. And then
An alien invasion
Yeah.
of Earth.
Oh my God, because I've never seen any of those things ever before.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Star Trek. Fucking hell.
yeah, Star Trek did it so much better.
No, let's get to the let's get.
Remember
let's
our
start-
rule from last week, too.
then
If you do any more than
normally-
3 Star Trek comparisons or references, your microphone goes off for the rest of the review.
And my reference counts as one, so just beware.
Just for anyone listening at home, just to give you an idea, we normally sit in kind of a round circle here, and we all just kind of contribute. And a lot of the time we don't make eye contact because we're looking at our notes, or, you know, Mitch is working the panel. At the moment, I have 6 eyes staring directly at me.
And we're like all standing up,
Two
just
of them are
staring
standing
down.
up, like bearing over me.
I've got a Tilk frown on.
The only thing that would make
I
this
feel
better,
like Rhys is flexing just to give his best tilk. He's just like, "Urgh."
I feel like the only way it could get more threatening is if we were between you and the door. But unfortunately, you are right next to the exit there, so escape is only a few steps away.
Talk me through
There's
it,
your
guys.
second Star Trek.
No. What didn't you like about it?
Well, what did you guys like about it?
No,
I
that's
think
what I
everything
said.
Brendan just
What
said,
did I
I
just
think.
say?
That
did.
was 3 things.
Tell us one thing that you didn't like about it.
Okay, so we're going to go to a mirror.
Tell us one good thing about Emancipation then.
That knife fight at the end. That knife fight was awesome.
No good thing.
Yeah, we didn't say bring up an example of bad fight choreography.
I just think the whole thing was really ham-fisted. Like, we're going to go to a mirror universe literally through a mirror. Like, come on. Literally through... What is this, Alice in Wonderland? Like,
Didn't
come
you
on.
hear how they described alternate universes though? It wasn't a mirror universe.
Yeah, but he goes through... He literally touches the mirror and goes to an alternate universe. the whole mirror universe.
How would you
thing-
have liked him to go to an alternate universe, Matty? Tell us.
something a little more creative.
Other than
that.
ancient artifacts.
Technically, was it a mirror because he never saw his own reflection?
Yeah, there was no reflection.
He
But
referred
it was
to
a
it
reflection
as
of the room.
Yeah, but he referred to it as
No, it
a
wasn't.
mirror.
It was. You could see the room. that
Yeah,
he was
but the
going
artifact is known
Yeah.
from this point forward as the quantum mirror.
Yeah, but that's just something cool that
it's
they
a full
named
body.
it.
My
Yeah.
mum had one of those in her bedroom, like
quantum mirror?
just a mirror in the
Why have
corner.
you not told us about
a
this before?
full length mirror in the corner, like.
Oh God, I was going to say something so bad. Say some joke. We've all been to your mum's bedroom before.
We know what mirrors in her bedroom.
But how come you guys haven't all seen her, Catherine Powers?
Is it the
photo?
one on the roof or something? Oh man, I can't believe we've waited 19 weeks to bring up a mum joke. Oh shit.
So,
just-
yeah.
I mean, I don't mind, alternate reality episodes, but for this one, like, I just felt like there were no stakes. Like, we know Daniel's not going to die. Like,
I think that's the only bad thing I had to say about it is that Daniel's like, but what about my Earth? And they're like,
Can you just time?
we don't
can you
really
just timestamp
care
that for me,
too
Mitch?
much.
Of Brendan said that's the only bad thing about this episode. I'm going to need that later on. If you can just get that
it
audio
is.
for me, I'm going to need
It's
that
the,
later
the
on.
only thing that annoyed me was like, well, it didn't really
Okay,
annoy
yeah,
me
that's-
because I agreed with him.
That's fine.
What about
That's
my Earth? And then they're like,
No,
yeah,
that's
okay.
mate. That's all I need.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I agree.
I do have a smoking gun that I'm going to save to the end.
Of course you do. Of
Of
course you do.
You can just sit over there in the corner and we'll talk about this awesome episode.
Well,
you
that's
can
it.
see it yourself.
Obviously, most people
Don't
listening.
get patronising that you got one thing over him. Like we'll go through back 20 episodes and find shit on you.
No, I'm just
Bring in the
that's what I'm
dossier,
saying.
Rhys.
That's what I'm saying.
Next
Obviously,
time I'm at your mum's house, I'm gonna have a word to her about you.
You can hold a grudge.
obviously, people listening to this episode, enjoyed the episode, so I don't want to spend half an hour, shitting on it because I'm interested on why you guys like it so much. I do have some other notes here on the things I didn't like about the episode, but
That's what I'm trying to get out of you. Tell us.
okay. So, if you want me to just go through my
Yes.
notes, okay. So,
And then we
you've
can
got-
correct you for the rest of the episode.
everything was
Be
just
careful because this is your last episode.
for me. It was the writing was sloppy and everything was way too convenient. So
Well,
you've
I agree with you there. It was Robert C. Cooper.
that was my smoking gun for later on. So you've got this alternate universe where so many things are different. Carter never entered the military. O'Neill is the general. And Hammond is the colonel. Teal'c's got a giant friggin' ponytail. Daniel never said yes to the program. All these things that are completely different about the entire universe. But SG-1's IDC is still the same, so Daniel can get through the Stargate on his own. Really?
Yep. Sure.
Come on.
Well,
Did you? Yeah, but they explained it.
No, they didn't.
Some alternate universes are completely different. Some are almost identical.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. We've gone to this new universe where these so many different things have happened. We've got a different leader, a different, events.
Yet Ra's
They're at
still dead.
war.
Yeah.
As far as we know, there is no SG-1 because Teal'c isn't part of the team, Daniel's not part of the team, Carter's not part of the military, and O'Neill is the colonel.
Well, they would-
is the general.
No, they do. It's got Cameron Mitchell as the head of SG-1. and a couple
well,
of
no, you're right. There's no
randoms.
SG-1 as we know it, but there is still a team SG-1
Right.
because he's got
and
SG-1's
Daniel
code.
has the exact same IDC code as that SG-1
Yeah, but that's like saying, like, in this episode, why did they establish it in the same mountain and stuff? It's like they're in the same mountain using the same, like, computer technology. For all we know, they literally have a computer where they go,
just
how
a
do we...
computer program
Yeah, like,
that
they go... It's like
rotates
the lotto
through.
numbers, like, on order. You just go click, and it comes up with a random number. It's like on the... look,
It's
I
the
agree.
programming.
That is a very
The
convenient
same
thing.
dude program the IDC codes. There you go.
No, you're right. That actually was the first thing that stuck out to me in the episode. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that
Damon
is a
Walter.
matter of
They do kind of
convenience.
shoot themselves in the foot with that IDC, I suppose.
Why is that?
With that, they can't. They have to have SU-1's IDC or a Stargate team's IDC to get into the SGC.
Yeah, to make them
regardless
open
of
the
which
iris.
episode it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me too, I guess. Are the military like a guard always waiting for SG-1, like guns at the ready whenever they come back through the gate?
Well, I mean, we're in an alternate universe, so in this one they're at war and they're being bombarded from space.
Yeah,
so
that's true,
at
I
this
guess.
point,
Yeah, no, I was just wondering because
they're at a heightened defense level.
For me, they're like,
So I can
even though
understand
the
that.
idea of an iris is so important and so great in our SGC, this is the SGA, was it?
Yeah.
Don't know it's the SGA.
Yeah.
Like for me, maybe an easier way around that IDC, is that what it's called? A thing around the IDC was maybe in this world they don't have an iris, but there is always an armed guard there waiting. Like they haven't come up with the idea of an iris. That would have been maybe cool. Was that Daniel sends through a code? It doesn't really mean anything because they don't receive IDCs.
Yeah.
They just don't have. They just have an armed guard there.
For me, it could be much easier to write they don't have an iris. And
Yeah.
they've got some other.
They are being
system like that.
bombarded by bombs.
Yeah.
Too many bombs.
Yeah, I mean, the iris did play a big part in the episode, though. So they needed the iris. And I guess it would, to them, it would give Daniel, like, they'd believe him more because, yes, he did have the IDC.
Yeah, right. But what I'm saying is in that initial moment when they got SG-1's IDC, when the incoming wormhole came through, where was SG-1? Is if the Earth is being bombarded and the whole
Like
point...
Mitch said, it's just another team. Like, you never see SG-2 or 3 or 4. You don't see them hanging around.
Yeah, because at the end,
that's what I mean.
didn't they say...
SG-1 is the most important, and Catherine says, when she introduces him to Jack, Catherine says, this is Daniel, he had SG-1's IDC. So if you're the number one team of the SGA, then you're important. The mountain and the entire planet is getting... You saw that map where all these, places are being, wiped off the planet. They're trying to get people to the beta site. Where are SG-1?
They're probably out
They can...
finding shit.
It would have been cool to find. I
They're
reckon
not
it would have been
I'm
cool
not
to
going to
find out.
go
They
into
could've-
semantics.
They
Well,
could
at
have...
the end, did
There's
they
a
not
lot-
No,
say...
but this is what you guys want from me, and that is the semantics. This is a piece of fiction, so it's up to the writer to.
I think if you had a double
to
episode
have
for
a
this, you
checklist
probably could have
to
got
do
away with.
this.
Probably couldn't have got away with those.
It could have taken one line to say SGC's at the beta site. Did they ever say SG-1's at the beta site? No. If they'd said SG-1's at the
You know what would
beta
have been more
site,
interesting? They're dead. It's like SG-1 are dead, and it's like, hang on, they're dead, but we had to open the iris because their IDC was
exactly
coming
a
through.
little something like that.
I don't know.
That
And
would've been cool.
they're under attack.
Fucking Cooper.
I don't blame old David Kemper. He created the story. He's like, hey, I got a cool story. Robert, you want to write it? Shit, yeah, I do. Got
Neither
good
do I,
ideas.
because he's actually the EP and a writer for Farscape. He actually became a big guy in Farscape. So, and again, Farscape have done this kind of episode much better. But yeah, it's those little things like that. Is the whole.
So do you not like it because you're comparing it to Farscape?
No, well, yes and no. In terms of this concept of the alternate universe, I've seen done better multiple times before and after
what
this.
series?
Farscape, Star Trek.
Oh, that's two.
Okay. Yeah, you fell into that one.
I was waiting for it.
Buffy, Angel, they've done alternate realities and stuff like that as well.
Roseanne.
So
For me, it was
actually,
just...
Roseanne's 7th season was an alternate reality. There you go.
I remember it.
7th or 9th? I can't remember.
I don't know it that well.
I think what I liked about it is because it was so different to what we've seen before, and alternate reality. This is the first one we've seen, right? This is the first kind of
I love it.
anything
Yeah, that's why I
different.
love it. It opens so many doors as to the possibilities, and it just goes to show, us as the viewer, like there's still more out there. Like we haven't seen everything, and there's still plenty more, technology, alternate universes, and there's so much more that can happen.
Oh yeah, it's a cool concept. For me, it just fell flat. Like to me, I didn't care when the entire SGA team was getting, killed one by one.
Yeah.
Like I feel like,
Wow,
and
you're a harsh
I guess, well, they're from an alternate reality. I know they're all going to die. I don't care about them. So there's no emotional resonance. And
I don't think there was meant to be either. You're supposed to kind of follow
well, then
Daniel.
What are we doing?
Well, he's following Daniel, and because he's freaking out the whole time. So for me, that was the highlight of the episode because he's freaking out
The
completely.
one thing that pissed me off is how long it took him to understand. Oh wait, I'm in an alternate reality.
I think, especially off the back of last week, like where shit was going wrong for them, and they very quickly, I made a point of that last week, they quickly realised that they weren't who they thought they were, right? They were, in fact, robots. There was all this evidence to suggest they weren't who they were, and they come to that realisation. It was like, okay, what do we do with that information? It took, I think, 7 or 8 different examples over the course of half the episode where Daniel just kept going, but you're on my team, and Catherine,
Even
I was at
walking
your
up the
house a
spiral
week ago.
staircase and says SGA. Did you notice that?
And only like 30 minutes into the episode does he remember, oh, I've got a camcorder in
Oh,
my bag
that shit.
shows
No,
the
that
other
shit
scene.
becomes like, why did you only think of that now?
Yeah,
But then again, maybe if
exactly.
he does bring it up at the start, because they are so convinced when they first meet him that he is part of the Goa'uld or something,
Yeah.
that is trickery. Whereas at the end, or towards the end, when he's slowly making his point and he's becoming a little bit more believable to them, does he bring out evidence that they're going to more so look into believing, maybe if they trust him a
I
little
did
bit.
like the way when he finally sort of is sparring with Carter about, you know, and he realizes that, oh my god, this is an alternate reality. Just the laugh of disbelief.
Is it possible that the Stargate malfunctioned or went haywire and I came through into a totally screwed up, different version of Earth?
No, I doubt that. The Stargate uses space-time to create a wormhole that allows us to travel across great distances, but it doesn't take you to an alternate reality.
Alternate reality?
Well, basically, scientists have theorized that there are an infinite number of dimensions, each containing a different possible version of reality.
Well, it sounds like I theoretically, possibly, actually found one.
One what?
What Sam said, alternate reality, a parallel plane. I mean, wouldn't that explain why everything here is the same, but different? I mean...
Okay, the theory is that there are an infinite number of alternate realities. Some of them are very different, and some are almost identical.
That has to be what this is. So this isn't my world at all. This is some sort of other dimension?
I love that laugh. And
I reckon he just swallowed a fly there.
I would
Need to get the line out.
just the scoffing laugh of disbelief. I really would love to know whether that was written or whether that was a Michael Shanks choice. Yeah. Whether he just wanted to scoff at the ridiculousness of it, or whether it was because it is a very John Crichton thing. Well, and knowing that David Kemper did do the story for this, it's interesting to see whether where that choice came from. I did enjoy that.
God, I love Crichton. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys talk about what you enjoyed about it.
For me, it was everything was awesome. Just having something kind of you realize like it is the same but different. You're like, oh, okay, so cool. Jack's the general, and then Carter comes in with long hair, and then you find out that they're engaged. And we talked about that in Solitudes, how that was the kind of the first romantic thing. This time they're kind of thrown it in your face. It's like, oh, okay, so potentially this could actually happen, and it didn't. But then all the differences, and then Teal'c with his ponytail come down and just being
that
That was a
Cracker.
monster
just
ponytail.
destroying everything. And then
Like, how does that work if he wants to put the snake head on? Like, has he got to like wrap that around
Yeah.
his neck like a scarf, or what's
just
going
put it
on
up in a
there?
bun, I think.
Yeah, and then O'Neill kind of has a moment with Teal'c at the end. How he's like, you know, you can free your people from slavery, and he's like, yeah, well, you killed my people, so
Yeah.
f- you.
That was
that
was
was the last hope.
that was a cool turn in that the
Yeah.
bomb that they
Yeah.
sent through that Daniel was trying to, and that's something that our universe would never do. Like, they would never send that bomb through to a non-military target.
Yeah.
And the fact that that blew up in their face at the end
Well-
by theoretically General O'Neill talking to Teal'c theoretically could have talked him around like they did in the pilot, but Chulak had been bombed.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the cemented moment where
Yeah.
they
I
couldn't
see.
have-
I disagree with you. I think if aliens were invading Earth, and because remember they didn't know where where Chulak was, where the Goa'uld home planet was until Daniel got there and told them the address for it. So they're going, you know where their home is, write it down, and then they knew. And then if Earth was getting absolutely hammered and everyone was getting murdered, they'd just be like, all right, send a nuke through. You know, maybe that'll turn them around. and
Even
go home.
Jackson didn't have a comeback for that when O'Neill says, we're at war. What else? What do
Yeah,
you want me to do?
and what
he's like,
what can they do?
I liked how long he held that, where he was trying to think of an answer.
Yeah.
And even O'Neill was willing to let him think
Yeah.
of an answer because he knew that he wasn't going to be able to do it.
Well, to me, it just feels like, well, they know they're the whole point, like the last sort of act of the episode is they're not going to last more than they're barely going to last the remainder of this window of opportunity of this gate being open for 38 minutes. They're going to fall, and if that falls and the whole half the planet's already gone, what is sending a bomb through to the other planet
Yeah.
going to prove?
Just
And
the last hurrah.
Just go down swinging.
You got us, yeah.
That's what he said, wasn't it? Something
like that. Yeah, and to me, just obviously that highlights that it is
Yeah, if they think they're
it
gonna
highlights
find one
the different reality. But to me, that makes me like this reality less because it shows Jack as a dick, and he's dumb. He's making dumb choices. I mean, he is at war, so he's under pressure and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But he's just, it's not my team, so I don't care about them because they're making it. they're making dumb decisions.
But I reckon Jack would do that in our reality. If he was the general, just think about in the movie he was going to detonate it. In Tin Man that we just did last week, he said, don't send a bomb. Why would I do that? Because I do. That's what I do. And in this, he sends the bomb to Chulak.
Yeah,
so I don't think
so
that's
basically what this
out of his
episode
character.
says is without Daniel Jackson, the Earth is destroyed. Is Daniel?
Well, we already know that.
Daniel's
Jackson, awesome.
So is the reference of the title?
Or Tilk.
The title of the episode, are they saying Daniel is God? There but for the grace of God, there but for the grace of Daniel
understood
go
the
I.
concept of the title. Is there
It's
anything
from the Bible.
behind that?
It's from just a line. It's talking about. It's like
I guess that's why I didn't.
the path less travelled. If circumstances were different,
Right.
then something bad could have befallen me. But they're crediting it to the grace of God that you made the right decision. Blah blah blah.
Yep.
So basically, they're calling Daniel God in this episode.
Maybe, or whoever decided to send him back. Was it Carter? Carter sent him back to Earth.
Well, no, because that reality
Catherine was behind the controls, yeah.
No, but that reality was fucked the moment Daniel said no to Catherine 2 years ago. So
how did that affect?
That is to me that is the defining moment. Yes, this reality was already different because Jack and I keep wanting to call him the General, but he's not in this.
Colonel Hammond.
Yeah, Colonel Hammond just doesn't roll off the tongue. So Jack and Hammond obviously are switched, and Carter's never been in the military. So there are automatic differences in this universe already. But the fact that Daniel said no is the defining moment for me that leads to this planet's destruction.
How did that affect?
No, because he, as he said, they still went through and they still killed Ra.
Yeah, but as
which
the guys,
is why the Goa'uld invaded.
but as the guys just said, O'Neill went to Abydos in the movie, right?
Yeah.
And was going to set off the bomb and destroy Abydos, and it was Daniel that talked him out of it. And then them working together managed to get it onto the ship as it was taking off and destroyed Ra and saved Abydos. And then Daniel spent a year. on Abydos.
I think the fork in the road is that Daniel wasn't on Abydos for that year, and so I assume in this alternate reality, Shara was taken by the Goa'uld, except they just didn't bother following them.
Well, then, that's
because that's what they went to Chulak to get. Shara and
so
and
that's
Skara.
that's the other hole in
They
the plot.
didn't meet
That's the other hole
Tilk.
in the plot for me. So
Tilk, not meeting Tilk is the key one too.
Yeah, but I think if you trace it back far enough, Daniel saying no and not getting involved in the Stargate program,
Which
to
is
me
the premise of the movie as well. If he had said no, the movie wouldn't have existed.
That's right. Well, the movie would exist. It would have just been very different.
Long time.
It would have just been
the
12
team
people
still went
sitting
to
around
Abydos.
doing jack shit.
Catherine went there instead of Daniel, didn't she? In this alternate universe, isn't that what they said?
Did she go to the planet?
To Abydos.
She eventually
Yeah.
figured out how to activate the gate.
Yeah.
And she said, "Oh, we referenced some of Daniel's work." Blah blah blah.
Why would she? I admit, we referenced some
Yeah.
of your work. Did you though?
Because she prefaced that by saying, "You're the one with the crazy theories that we used actually when we
used
were
quite successfully."
messing around with the greatest discovery of humankind."
Yeah.
But I actually did like that. As a side note to everything we're discussing, that the Catherine is in this alternate reality playing such a vital role because we brought up when Daniel went and visited her a couple of episodes into the season, and she said, "Oh my God, I haven't seen you, since you left for Abydos."
And we're saying, were they really that close?
Well, yeah, but were they really that close? But we were like, how much has she been pushed out of the whole thing when she was there? Like, since she was a child, she was part of developing what the Stargate was.
And
she
I
lost her fiance.
I think from a legal point of view, doesn't she own the Stargate?
Yeah, technically,
And
yeah.
like the military is like renting it off her.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool to see her play such a role and be a bit of a different Catherine again. They're in war, so she's a little bit more stern and whatnot. But nice too that the relationship between Catherine and Daniel was what sort of opened the possibilities for the rest of the story. As it did in the movie, their relationship and their communication between each other, what they established at the start of the film, paved the way for what happened the rest of the film. And in this episode was that no one was believing Daniel until just something clicked with Catherine, and he talked about Ernest and that sort of thing. So,
But I don't know in this reality how we got to this point. Like if we're talking about what happened in the movie and Children of the Gods. So we open up at Children of the Gods. It's been a year and we haven't heard from the Goa'uld. As far as we know, we've gotten away with it. Nobody knows where we are. That nobody knew that we were the Tari. We find in a couple of episodes later that world's been lost forever. But of pure chance, Apophis rocks up to Earth, steals that blonde chick from the room, and takes off. And up until that point, Earth has only ever thought that the Stargate went to one place. So we assume that then, in this alternate reality, they've gone back to Abydos, a planet they blew up,
found the cartouche.
Well, they blew it up with a nuke. So,
No, they didn't. How did they kill Ra then?
well, that's what I'm saying. This is what the episode doesn't tell us.
Well, they killed Ra. Even Daniel said both realities killed Ra. So you'd assume.
But you said before the whole point of it is O'Neill was going to set off the nuke.
Yeah.
And he was going to stay there and die with it, and it was Daniel
But he didn't.
But it was Daniel in our reality. It was Daniel that talked him out of that.
Wasn't
and
it?
then
Well,
then they worked
Did he, though?
together because Daniel came out of the sarcophagus. He thought he was dead. Blah blah. And they worked together. They put the nuke into the rings that went up and blew up Ra's ship and saved Abydos.
Yeah.
So we don't know in this alternate reality if Abydos was blown up or not. But when we get to
I assume
Abydos,
not because Ra died, right? I assume the same way. I
Yeah,
don't think
all,
Daniel.
all we know, like, there's so many possibilities of what could have happened. All we know is that they killed Ra, and then that's why the Goa'uld are coming to invade Earth as a retribution.
right? But then, and I don't want to spoil this for Rhys because of the next couple of episodes that are coming along. But so in this alternate universe, we assume Apophis because Teal'c is there, and he's coming to get retribution for the death of Ra. But then in our universe, in the next couple of episodes, is what happens because of what happened in Children of the Gods, or is it revenge for the death of Ra?
Yeah. Probably.
I don't want to shit in this
Probably
episode because
more.
you guys love it, and you guys are all looking at me
Well, to
really
me,
down
I didn't-
now.
to me,
you
I
guys
didn't
are all
really-
just like low energy and just out of just going, oh god, he's poking holes in this
No,
episode.
no,
I
not at
love
all.
it. Like,
No, it's actually really
Trying
good
take in
to.
your point,
like
yeah.
if you guys love the episode, that's great, and
It still doesn't change the way I feel about the episode.
No,
but
well, that's
for me,
good.
it's
That's good.
I didn't really care about those little details too much because I'm like, it's an alternate reality. I can live with that. That's enough. They both killed Ra. There was enough for me to believe it and
Yeah,
press
we
on.
can fill in the blanks.
And for the simple fact that, like you said, they're going to all die anyway, so who gives a shit? And then I was surprised that they actually were listening to Daniel by saying, well, this is Teal'c, he's in SG-1, here it is on tape. That was cool. I love that. It was kind of like, and even Carter mentions it, they were actually viewing an alternate reality.
Oh,
of
like
ourselves.
and little elements like that I think are really great.
So cool.
But
yeah.
in terms of the overall story beats, because then there's just that moment where, we've got this magical SOS signal that we received 3 months ago.
I didn't really notice that the first few times I watched it until this time I'm kind of going, okay.
I've got the
Who?
bit there if you
Why?
want to play it, Mitch.
Why did they send it?
The first part sounds like a derivation of ancient Egyptian.
We couldn't recognize it.
Oh, you didn't learn how to speak it aloud on Abydos.
Sing.
Where did this come from?
It's a deep space transmission our receivers picked up about 3 months ago.
So, why are you showing this to me now?
Because the transmission originated from the same quadrant of space as P3R233.
Where your mirror is.
We went to 233 after we received the transmission, but the civilization had been destroyed by the Goa'ulds. We didn't find any mirror, though.
Well, it was right there.
Yeah.
Fucking Cooper. God, I love that sound.
Beware the destroyers.
The Sharpie on the paper.
Some of 233's aliens must have sent out the warning before their civilization was destroyed by the ghouls.
What does the rest say?
It just says they come from, but the sentence isn't complete. There's just more sounds, pulses, or beats of some kind.
Yeah, we've analyzed them.
Obviously not enough.
They're divided into groups. 3, 32, 16, 8, 10, and 12.
That's 6 numbers.
Yeah.
They've had it for 3 months. Daniel figures it out
Yeah,
in 3
that-
seconds.
yeah, but
That's
they
the
didn't have
Stargate
the
address,
prefix
just
to it.
without the point of origin.
They didn't have Beware the Destroyer.
Beware the
Come from.
destroyers. They come from
They didn't
3,
know that.
32, 16, 8, 10, and 12.
The aliens who lived on 233 found out where the Goa'uld attack originated.
What, like a Goa'uld home world?
Or at least a military base. They must have assigned a number to each symbol on the Stargate. It's a code. All we need to do is figure out which symbol the aliens used to represent the number 1 and start counting from there.
Well, the only unique symbol they would have is the point of origin for 233.
But that symbol may not even be on our Stargate.
Except I have the alien gate on tape.
So Carter and Catherine have just attributed that distress call that they got 3 months ago to the species on 233, who are now extinct. They've been wiped out. In our universe, SG-1 went to 233. That species has already been wiped out. We never got that message 3 months ago.
Yeah, true.
So this is what I mean.
I
get
don't
what you guys
understand why they're the little reasons why you hate it.
because it's
like
sloppy writing. Like I can't immerse myself. Like I said, I don't care about this alternate universe.
Yeah.
I know because I'm watching a TV show that's 20 episodes into its first season. I know Daniel's going to survive, so there's no real threat to Daniel.
But that's not really the point of the show as it is. Like, the whole point of the show is them going out and learning new things. Isn't that what excites you? Or is it the risk of death?
It's
continuity, Rhys.
No, the whole point of this episode is to give Daniel this piece of information to continue us on to the 2 next episodes.
Which is, obviously the next episode is so good.
That's the only reason this episode exists, is for Daniel to have this address. Rhys, how far are you? Have you watched the season finale yet?
No.
Okay, and have you watched Politics yet?
Yes.
Okay, so the only...
We'll be back next week to
It's
talk
funny
politics,
because
all right?
Matty hates this episode, which
Yeah.
is one of the best.
I feel
And
like-
he loves politics, which is actually the worst out of the 10 years.
So next week it's going to be a complete
It makes
reverse.
no sense.
Where I'm going to be sitting and you guys are going to be shouting all your hatred at me for it.
Yeah.
But so, from a narrative point of view, this episode only exists to give Daniel this piece of information of this address of where the destroyers come from. It's the only reason it exists, and that gets us to our season.
But it's cool.
That gets to our season finale. Like I said, like there's interesting elements in here, but overall the story arc for me fails because
In a way, you could say that Rogue One was only a reason to get Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. Throw that out there to get the piece of technology. Sending R2 to see Luke. That's the only reason Rogue One existed. We didn't need to see Rogue One, did we? We already know that Luke's going to be the hero in Star Wars.
I'm confused.
Talking about
what's
Star Wars.
what's it got to do about his lightsaber?
Well, you're saying that this episode is that's the only reason, so it shouldn't exist. That's it. He got that little key bit of information.
Yeah.
So then Luke.
What's Luke's lightsaber got to do with Rogue One?
Well, because he gets it from Obi-Wan.
Yeah, but neither Luke nor Obi-Wan are in Rogue One. I feel like we're getting off track here. I feel like this should be in a Rogue One track.
Yeah. No, I know. I think I know what you mean as well. Like,
Death Star.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
then eventually gets him his lightsaber. But then there's no. What's the point of having Rogue One? That's
because
what your point.
I know what you mean. Like, we watched a 2 hour and 20-minute movie about getting the plans into Leia's hands.
Yeah.
That's the end. The only reason Rogue One exists, it didn't even need to exist because it was Rogue One was a one line made up of about 7 words in the opening crawl of the very first Star Wars movie made.
I am one with the Force.
40 years ago, right? Yeah, exactly. And so we didn't need to see that, but it's like, they made a movie of it anyway, and they made it cool. It's like, in a way, I feel like next week we might be able to talk about politics as well. As in a way, well, I do actually like politics way more than obviously what the Gibson brothers do, and maybe not as much as you do, Matty, but that whole episode could have been 10 minutes, but it stretched out into 40,
Totally. And there's a reason for it. You know?
Whereas I think both of you are making good points about this episode. You don't like the tiny little details, Matty, in this episode.
The story isn't...
It doesn't work, right?
Yeah,
the little details. It's not fleshed out enough. Whereas in a way, Brendan was saying, well, look, there's so much
disagree.
other...
It's Robert C. Cooper.
But there's so much other stuff in this episode
my
going
point.
on that they don't have enough time. Whereas, and then Brendan did say too that if it was a double episode, there'd be so much stuff.
If it was a double episode, I might be all for it.
That's exactly right.
It expands on these problems that I have. And in terms of Rogue One, well, I mean, it still takes place in this universe, and there's consequences for it. But everything that happens to Daniel and all those people that died, and everything that happens there's no consequences to that.
But I think that's the point of it, is that Daniel now knows this can happen.
Yeah.
This is the extreme, and this could happen because essentially they came here because we killed Ra in my universe, and we killed Ra in this universe, and they've come to kill us. This is what can happen.
That's
and he
what
goes
makes-
back.
But it would never happen because when you look at these characters, they're all making dumb decisions. You've got them...
But that doesn't stop the Goa'uld to come and drop space bombs on us.
Well, yes, it does, because if O'Neill hadn't made the dumb decision of sending the nuke through the wormhole as soon as he got the address to Chulak, he theoretically could have turned Teal'c to their side and turned the tide.
That just... My point still stands.
Yeah, but if Daniel
Ra's
wasn't
dead,
there,
so the
that wouldn't
Goa'uld...
happen.
It doesn't matter what SGC do, the Goa'uld are still on their way because Ra's dead.
No, the Goa'uld are already there. Like, they're bombing the planet. Half the planet's already destroyed.
Yeah, you're missing the point. What I'm saying is, in either universe, nothing's going to stop the Goa'uld to come to Earth and bomb the shit out of it. regardless of what anyone
Well,
in SGC does.
I feel like the final episode...
Because the damage has already been done.
I feel like the final episode of this series disproves your point, because in 2 episodes'
Well, I've
time...
f***ing seen it.
So pipe down!
So what?
Well, not
Just
really.
let me be wrong for 3 weeks.
I don't know, like, if you guys like it, that's great. And there's definitely points, you know, here and interesting elements and little 30-second bits that I find really interesting. But as a whole, I find this episode is a failure.
I like the pacing of the episode. Like, it starts off the way that every episode starts off. They get to a planet, something happens, credits. Actually, I think the pre-credits lasted a very long time, actually, in this episode, now that I say that. As it's like, and I know you said you didn't really care. There was no threat because you knew Daniel was never going. No, but you said like
stakes.
Well, no stakes because of Daniel and stuff. Like I know that, but at the same time, I wrote a note down. Like it's almost not to bring up like almost. I'm trying to think now how to probably.
Something that I wanted to bring up to you guys, and I guess it'll be hard. It'll be impossible for Rhys and a little bit harder for Mitch. But Brendan, you might remember. There's an episode. Is it 2010 that comes in about season 5? To me, it's a very similar story to this.
Yeah.
And done 1,000% better. 1,000%
Yeah, it's not an
better.
alternate reality, but...
Well, it is. It's an alternate reality in the future. And
Yeah,
they
I
have to
guess.
change the future and all that sort of stuff. And it's a Hail Mary kind of thing trying to change the future. To me, that episode was done 1,000% better than this one.
So, I think they're
Because
both...
Robert C. Cooper didn't write it, obviously.
I think they're both the same. For me, like, I loved them both equally. Like, this...
Well,
like
see,
we've said,
I found that I could
season
relate
one
to that
has
SG1
plot
scene
holes
more
all the
than I
way
could to
through.
this.
We've said that
Oh,
the
yeah,
whole
it's
way.
not a perfect series by any means.
You know, and that's what I can kind of attribute this to, those kind of little plot holes. And I didn't notice it the first time I saw it. The first probably 3 or 4 times I saw it, I thought it was awesome. There's only this time around that I kind of saw the tiny little plot holes, the warning from the other Earth, from the other world, from P2R, whatever it is. And I didn't care about that. I think the first time I saw it too, I did actually care about Teal'c. I'm like, Teal'c's still under the service of Apophis.
It was
This
cool to see
sucks
Teal'c as a
so
bad guy. It's almost like, again, to bring up Rogue One,
Yeah,
we saw
the
Vader
Vader.
being a bad guy.
Yeah.
You know, so it was cool to see Teal'c in bad guy mode.
And then O'Neill realised, yeah, I'm not going to really turn him over, and he's just gone and boom and blast him away. I'm like, that was cool.
And I think
that was
that's
so awesome.
That's all this was. This was like a Twilight Zone episode just to show all our characters dying, but with no stakes at the end. Like, because if you think about it, like, if you're in that room and Daniel is the one saying, well, Teal'c can be an ally. He's one of my best mates. I know that he doesn't follow these false gods. And then he sends Jack to go and convince him. And I know Jack did convince him in our universe, but I feel like Daniel would be the one to give that emotional plea because he knows Teal'c.
Yeah.
Jack doesn't know Teal'c.
Yeah.
Daniel does. Daniel could have got under Teal'c's skin and convinced him. But they send Jack so that Teal'c can kill Jack. So we can see a cool thing of Teal'c.
And that's why
Jack.
I kind of think you, in a way, you can compare this alternate reality storyline almost to the theory or the idea of time being a river, and that time travel, you can throw a rock in, it'll create a ripple, but eventually the river keeps flowing the way that it was always intended. Like you were saying before, Rhys, is that Daniel, and you said as well, Matty, that Daniel wasn't on Abydos in this alternate reality, but the path of fate, in a way, very closely aligned to our SG-1 and our team and our timeline and our reality, was that Ra eventually did die. And that even in this particular episode, Jack was always going to die, right? Before Daniel ever came back, that ship was always going to land on Cheyenne Mountain. They were always going to come down and invade, and Jack, some way or another, was probably going to die. Whether or not at the hands of Teal'c or not, he was going to die. And Teal'c was always going to stay a bad guy. Because no one was going to be there to convince him. Daniel gets inserted into the storyline, and he says, hey, go and convince Teal'c. O'Neill's like, whatever, I'll go take a shot, goes down there. But because of Daniel's interjection into the story, Trulok became a thing. Trulok gets bombed. Teal'c still remains a bad guy because of things that Daniel tried to do to help the situation. So,
which I don't think that's such a bad thing.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all.
No, that's human nature. Like, we kind of panic, we up and go, shit, okay, we shouldn't have done that in hindsight, which is fair enough for me. That's what I put that episode, those bits in that episode too. Like, if Daniel had his time over again, he probably wouldn't have given him Chulak.
He did give that up very freely.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, he
how
was
does someone
like,
that smart go, oh, what, you
He
want
was,
this?
he was
Yeah.
trying to
Down.
convince him though. Like
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to, I can do that.
Yeah.
And I am
I've
on
got
your side. I'll give
information.
you information that the bad guys would
Yeah.
want to be kept
And
very
obviously,
private.
in
Hang on a
his-
second,
in
what?
his mind, the Jack he knows wouldn't just send a nuke through for no
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
Like, to
That
his-
actually was, even though Jack, like you said, he was in war and he was making dumb decisions anyway, but he was still, it was the general version of our Colonel Jack. Like, he was still Jack
He's seen
O'Neill,
some shit.
whereas Colonel Hammond was still General Hammond, just with a lower rank, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they were still the same
looser
characters
fitting
that we
uniform.
know. They just, yeah, exactly.
It just did not look right, did it?
and then the other bit that kind of annoyed me was there was the big plot point right at the end where they go, oh, we need the remote you bought for the mirror. And Sam goes, I'll go get it, and then runs upstairs
Yeah.
and blows it up. And Daniel goes, oh, well, I guess I'll leave without it then.
Yeah, thank God he didn't need that
It's-
to turn the mirror back
Yeah.
on. Yeah, that was what got me.
Yeah,
at the end.
luckily there wasn't any power save mode
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
mirror where it just turned itself off after
Stand
half
by.
an hour of inactivity. I'm assuming it was stayed on that whole time, but then
Yeah.
we now in our universe have no control of that mirror because we have no remote.
Yeah.
So we can't really use that mirror again unless we're going to go
So
back to that.
Just out of interest, Matty, when you first watched that episode, did you like it as you were watching it? And it was, or was it, so you didn't
Wow.
analyze it and then go, yeah, no, that was pretty shit.
No, from the get go, I never cared about the alternate reality people.
But I've never cared about alternate reality people in any form of anything.
Well, like I said,
Like,
2000
you talked about last week, I think,
2010, I care about those characters.
that Voyager episode with the pool. As soon as I
Yeah.
knew that they weren't the real Voyager crew, I'm like, oh, them. Like, I did not care about the rest of the episode. They could die for all I care because they're just
I did.
a puddle of liquid.
I did because at their core they were still those same characters. Like I was saying to Rhys before, is
Do you-
I feel like General O'Neill didn't have any of the traits that make me like Colonel O'Neill. So I didn't like General O'Neill, so I didn't care when he died.
Yeah.
Teal'c, we never got to see any of those sensitive moments about Teal'c that we know about.
He kind of
To
almost
like
did,
Teal'c.
and then he
Almost.
goes, well,
He goes,
you know
"Oh."
what? You killed my family.
And that's
so
when
Yeah.
that,
No, I don't believe
that
it,
is an
yeah.
amazing, that was a brilliant turn.
Yeah.
The way that him sending that bomb in the end is what f***ed him over. I
Yeah.
thought that great little moment, great little piece of
Yeah.
writing, something you don't really think about being really poignant towards the end there.
Yeah.
So like I said, there's little things like that are nuggets of a great episode, but overall I was just like, let's get to politics. Let's get to the finale. And at least and this
like,
episode
as I said, viewers, he's not joking. So
and this episode didn't even have the guts to put a to be continued on the end of it. Like they do for the next 2 or 3 episodes. And I
Yeah.
feel like the way the next episode picks up, this one should have just been a to be continued.
yeah, you're right.
Because Daniel's just like, he drops through, blah, 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 they're coming. Fade to black.
Yeah.
That's the same cardinal sin that, this is going to open a can of worms. But this is the same cardinal sin that Empire Strikes Back did in terms
Yeah.
of Empire Strikes Back. Great little vignettes of films, but as an overall story fails because it's a come back next week. There's no.
Thank you, Joss Whedon. We
Yes.
get it. Yes,
There's,
yes.
there's no ending to Empire Strikes Back.
Well,
And
then
so-
you hate the Lord of the Rings, then.
Yes, we know that. We know I hate the Lord of the Rings.
You
That's
call yourself a geek.
very well
You are-
established.
what is wrong with you?
How do we just on that actually?
You guys
Just
call yourselves geek, and like these two have never seen an episode of Star Trek in their lives. You, I appreciate you.
So we're geeks, not nerds.
Brendan, you went through and watched the entire series of Star Trek Voyager, which I very much appreciated. But you guys call yourselves geeks and have never seen Star Trek.
okay.
So-
On the just actually on that with the comparison to Empire, how do we feel? I guess when you look back at the original Star Wars, A New Hope, as we now know it, the fact that like Vader, who we get told killed our main character, our protagonist's father. So a pretty
Yeah.
key character, right? Key character in the evil empire, even though he's very much a background character in that film. When you look at just that film alone,
And it's a
he only
retcon.
has like 12 of... Yeah, exactly, it is. But he doesn't get killed, seemingly by design, even though they didn't know what that film was going to turn out to be. But maybe George Lucas, they're going, there's a chance it's going to become a franchise. The 2 TIE fighters next to him get destroyed by Han Solo. Darth Vader's little, what's he got? Not a TIE fighter, but whatever his little,
TIE Interceptor,
whatever the hell it's called, floats off
Yeah.
into space, seemingly on just, for whatever reason, just spinning,
So
spiraling
then-
out of control, right?
Actually, why
Death
didn't
Star
he
blows
land
up.
on the Ewoks' home
Why didn't
world?
he go to Yavin 4, right? like, how do we feel about that? Just by comparison to Empire, where Empire technically has no finish because it's a comeback next week because you get the cliffhanger, I'm your father. But Darth Vader, this Dark Lord, seemingly the greatest fighter the Empire has, floats off very close to the Rebel base and seemingly does nothing. And he's in a tiny little fighter. Like, how did he get back to the Empire?
That's a he who fights and runs away lives to fight another day.
He's Darth Vader.
Yeah, but as a film itself,
That would be
they're
so
like,
cool.
Well, it has a beginning, middle, and
As a
end.
film.
Yeah.
The goal at the end of the film is to blow up the Death Star.
Yeah.
They blow up the Death Star and save the rebellion.
No, that's cool. No, I just wanted to ask because
Yeah.
because I always think about those films as being a great trilogy, you know, or a great series or whatever. But
Yeah. But I mean, it has that ceremony at the end. There's closure there. Like if there was never any Star Wars past,
you can bring it up. Go.
Why?
Just like Batman vs Superman, you know, they had the funeral.
Oh no, I was going to say that. I was going to say
talking
there's
about
a great video going around Facebook at the moment that has that ceremony at the end of A New Hope
With no music.
without any thematic
amazing.
music.
Oh, yeah.
It's the most
so
amazing thing
fucking
seen
Chewie.
in quite a while.
Just the awkward looks between Mark Hamill and Carrie Fisher
And the coughs in the background of the crowd,
Yeah, that was good.
and the clanging of the medals that she's
And
putting on.
R2 coming
just
up.
dancing weirdly, and then just like, oh, he's so cute. Shut up, no
And they
one's
just
talking.
turn around and look at the crowd. Like that was before I hit play. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be the best. That bit where they turn around and go, just nothing. Funny shit.
Some other stuff, just I guess we're going to have to start wrapping this up. This is already our longest episode ever, and probably for good reason because we have such divisive
Bloody
views.
Star Wars instead.
But some other stuff I did really like about this episode, and I'll save, I guess, the biggest reveal of for the series until last, is that one, even as a colonel in an alternate reality, Hammond loves the self-destruct. Because O'Neill goes up to talk to Teal, and Hammond quickly goes, "This is my moment to shine," and goes up to whoever's in the controls and goes, "Now I want you to hit the self-destruct button. A minute to go."
When you just love it like 12 o'clock each day, General O'Neill's like, all right, you got the helm, Hammond. All right, he's off. Set the self-destruct. 45 minutes. Put it on.
It's like everyone's knocked off and gone home for the day. He
Everyone's
just
like,
make sure no one's around. And he just puts the self-destruct. Oh, yeah.
He's
And then
falling
just,
asleep on night shift. He's run out of coffee. He's like, how am I going to keep myself awake? Put it on like a 10-minute. And as he starts to fade, he's like, whoa, shit! Abort!
gets down to 10 seconds and he turns it off. He goes, yeah, that's the shit. And then he goes home for a beer.
He just likes entering his
Oh,
authorization
God, that
code.
feels so good. I just saved the planet.
Just like fist pump. Yeah.
Number two, well, as we teased it
man.
earlier, Walter with the machine gun just full coming. Come get some! Come get some! Ah!
That's
Awesome.
the Walter we want. That's the best thing about
That's
the alternate
Walter
reality.
we deserve. I would have sacrificed our Daniel if Walter had come back through the
Yeah. Then we could start reading these synopsises for real because Walter would be there to save everything. Oh,
Hey, Hammond, you're fired. I'm a general now.
And then number three, not as much fun, I guess, considering the fun we've had in the last two, is that we've now been revealed that a wormhole can only stay
Yes.
open for 38 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
So-
established now. That's
Well, at
in
the
world.
moment,
38.
I think, well, in that universe, Carter can only hold him for 30 minutes.
Well, she
but-
said around half an hour.
Yeah, and then the Goa'uld can maxed out at 38 minutes. So I think at that point they just go, okay, well, we're as good as the Goa'uld now, so we can handle the 38-minute window.
Yeah, which is kind of cool because I know we have been teasing at that, I guess, with you, Rhys, because until now they haven't stated that. And also with when we started talking about Get Into Gate, and we said how we're going to do this because we could talk about this show for hours. And we said, hey, one little bit of a meta joke to the fans that have watched the series and know the ins and outs of the details. Why don't we try and cap every episode at 38 minutes? So while we sort of fall short
Even
of that, or
mid-sentence.
just go over, which would be kind of cool. And I said, well, how are we going to do that at the start? And then we thought, let's not actually do it until they establish it at 38. So maybe from next week in
And then when
politics,
there's
let's
sake of going,
cap it at
hey,
38.
let's get Matty on this podcast. He doesn't talk much.
Even when he says, I'm going to go sit over here and you guys talk about what you like, still didn't happen.
And also do with wormholes that a wormhole can come in midway through the other gate dialing out. Because our guys are dialing out in a computer, which takes so much longer than the Goa'uld on the other side. Just
But they just go
punch,
tap,
punch,
tap,
punch,
tap,
punch
tap,
into
tap,
the
tap.
DHD. So, the fact that they managed to get a wormhole established to the mirror planet was a miracle anyway. Like, how slow are the Goa'uld? Like, did they go take a piss when the 38 minute window left and they're like, oh, shit, come back?
They don't have watches.
No,
so,
He's just
you know.
like, nah, punching through. oh god, this is why do we have to keep doing this?
Oh, I pushed the wrong one. Hang up.
Shit. Is there a hang up button? What do they do? Do they hit the middle button like halfway through and it just sort of disconnects?
Maybe they've just got to just let it wait and go engaged.
Yeah.
Does anyone the number you have dialed is incorrect?
Otherwise, there's a hole in the pedestal, and they've got to get their staff weapon and press it in for the reset.
Does anyone prank dial with Stargates? Like, do they dial just
Dude, you know what?
Psych.
You know what I thought of a great prank is if you get the two Stargates, face them towards each other, and you get one dialed in, like say SG2 are coming back from a mission, and you put the other Stargate in front. You like dial some other planet, and then they come straight through that Stargate into the next one, and they're like, "Wait, I thought we dialed home. Why are we on this random planet? The toilet planet." Yeah.
What is this shit?
Maybe Daniel could have suggested that. He goes, "We want to send a bomb through the True Luck." He goes, "Have you thought of fecal matter?"
Yeah.
Start there.
Yeah. Just do a shit in there first.
I'm a little bit ahead, but when
your shit and throw it through.
I'm a little bit ahead in episodes, so when we get to one of the early episodes of season 2, there is a
planet?
There is a toilet gate moment.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Better not just be a piss.
No, it's pretty graphic.
It's a solid
now that
moment.
you guys have set up the toilet planet, when I saw it, it's the first thing I thought of straight away.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, the only thing was what Rhys said, that Teal'c's Goa'uld warning about thing being radioactive, but they never go back to that again, ever.
And isn't it established back when we first meet Nearty that Teal'c's Goa'uld symbiote protects him from all that sort of stuff?
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it was... Well, actually, here's an interesting theory I had is it the Goa'uld... It was a type of radiation that the Goa'uld weren't immune to, or did the Goa'uld put that symbol up to scare away any Jafar because the Goa'uld were afraid of what they might learn on that planet?
Yeah.
Was it a way? Is it just maybe the Goa'uld were afraid of the technology these people had, and they've put that up? Why they wouldn't destroy the technology, I don't know.
Maybe they couldn't, I guess,
maybe
if we're
they
filling in
couldn't.
gaps, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is Robert C. Cooper, mate, we're talking about.
We should make a new rule for Brendan. 3 Robert C. Coopers and he's cut off.
And also, take
We've all
note,
jumped on
listeners,
board that wagon, all right?
Take note, this is the only time Brendan will be defending an episode written by Robert C. Cooper.
Yeah. Story by someone else, though. So
Yes, it's okay.
Story by a guy who created Crichton.
Farscape, yeah.
Yeah.
So
So we're all happy. All right, are we all got it off our chest? We feel good. We all still friends, I feel. I mean, Brendan and Rhys and I are all still mates,
Yeah,
obviously.
good
But do we hate Matty or not? How do we
We don't
feel?
know why
great, and it's
you're
gonna be-
here, but anyway.
We'll find out after next episode, I think.
I'm going to be the odd one out again next
The
week.
tables
aren't I?
have turned. Okay, we will be back next week, but that so far today
I might
is...
not be, actually.
Yeah, you might. Take a week off, guys. Matty's riding solo next week.
An alternate universe.
That is episode 19 there, but for the grace of God, for Get Into Gate, we will be back next week. Episode 20, the penultimate episode of the first season of Stargate SG-1, called Politics.
And what
Matty
a hoot
loves
it is.
Isn't it great? Let's discuss it next week.
love
You
it.
can find all of our Get Into Gate stuff on socials, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, simply at Get Into Gate. Drop us an email, getintogate@gmail.com, and all our podcasts on Soundcloud and iTunes. Myself, Mitch_Lewis on Twitter and Instagram, Matty,
High pitch Matty.
Rhys,
At the Flying Gibson.
and Brendan.
At the Brendan Gibson on Instagram.
And everything Get Into Gate does is part of the larger world that is Get Into Geek. You can find everything we do over there, getintogeek.com. Let's
Is
do it
anyone
all
out there-
again next week
If
for
there's anyone there
politics.
who hates this episode as much as I do, please let me know. I need new friends.
Yeah, you do.
GetIntoGeek.com.